Hey everybody, welcome back to AJ's Gear Talk, where all of my videos are unedited, unrehearsed, and unbiased. Okay, let's get a couple of things cleared up front. So the purpose of this video, and you can see I have three Tele style guitars behind me, is not to say which one is the best guitar out of these three, because it's going to be subjective, obviously. That's number one. It's simply going to be what's the best guitar for my needs out of these three, in my opinion, right? Second thing is there's no playing in this video. All of these guitars are different configurations. We have a Tease, an SBH-E series, that has a humbucker at the bridge and a single at the neck. So it's an HS. It's, a small rail-style humbucker in the bridge on that guitar. Behind it is the Firefly, and that is two singles, what a Tele typically has. However, they're Strat-style pickups, so it's a little bit different from a conventional Telecaster. And the one here, besides the Firefly, is the EART Tele-style guitar, which is more like a Charvel-ish style guitar, right? And it has two humbuckers. So they're all different. None of them are conventional Teles. They all have a different spin. And they all have different use cases. And in my opinion, these are three of the best, or three alternatives, right, of some of the best budget Telecaster guitars on the marketplace. So, with that, let's first kick this off with features and functions of all three guitars, just to give you a baseline. So, first off, all three of these instruments are made in China, in Chinese factories. The weight on the guitars. The Tease is the heaviest of the bunch by a slight bit. This came in at my scale, and again, every guitar is a little bit different in terms of weights. Not all Tease Tele styles may be this weight. Some may be lighter, some may be a little heavier. The same for all the other guitars. This guy came in at 8.1 pounds. The Firefly Mad Cat came in at 7.9 pounds, slightly lighter. And identical to the Firefly is the EART TL80 Tele style guitar, and that came in at 7.9 pounds as well. Wood materials for the guitars. This guy, the Tease, is a basswood body instrument. The Firefly behind it is mahogany with a flamed maple top and mahogany and flame maple back with mahogany sides. So that's what that guitar is made out of. The EART guitar is also a mahogany body. Now, neck materials. As you can clearly see here, the neck on the Tease is a maple unfinished neck. Back as well. So you have an unfinished maple neck on the Tease. On the Firefly, and we'll go over and get the guitar. I'll back up. This has a glossed finish on the back of the neck. It's not a satin finish. And this is a roasted maple fretboard and neck on this guitar. The Firefly, although a little bit darker in the roasting, also has a roasted maple fretboard and roasted maple neck. And this has an in-between neck between that Firefly and the Tease. It's a satin finish, but it has a slight gloss to it, whereas the Tease almost feels unfinished. This has got some sort of a glossed finish on top of it. Okay. Frets. You've got 22 medium jumbo frets on the T's, 22 medium jumbo frets on the Firefly, 22 medium frets on the EART. And excuse me, you have 21 medium frets on the Firefly. I made a mistake there, and 22 on both the T's and the EART Tele style guitars. One less fret on the Firefly. Let's see what else we've got here. C-shaped neck on the T's, C-shaped neck on the Firefly. The EART has a compound radius on the neck thickness. It goes from C to U, or U to C, I should say. So it's a little thicker where you're playing cowboy chords, and then it thins out into the shred zone. So it has a compound radius. Similarly, the fretboard, the radius on the T's is 12 inches. On the Firefly, it's 14 inches. It's slightly flatter. And on the EART, it's compound radius on the fretboard as well. So it starts out where the neck is a bit thicker as a 9.5 inch radius, and then it flattens out to 14 inches into the shred zone on the guitar. The nuts on all three are bone nuts. Full-size pots on all of these guitars. The T's has full-size CTS pots. It also has Gavit wiring. It has some upgraded features on the internals on the T's. The pickup configuration, as I mentioned before, HS on the T's. So you've got a rail humbucker, an Alnico 5 humbucker at the bridge, and you have an Alnico 5 single coil at the neck. The only guitar out of these three that has a conventional Tele neck pickup on it is this T's guitar. Firefly has two singles, but they're Strat-like singles on that guitar. They're not your typical Tele single coils. The overly wound bridge inset Tele and the lipstick style neck pickup on the Tele, they're not here. You have the Strat style pickups on that guitar, as well as the bridge. The EART has humbuckers. Now, the pickups on the Firefly are Alnico. I'm not sure if they're 2, 3, 5. They're not stated, but they're Alnico pickups. Out of these three, the only guitar that has ceramic pickups is the EART. Those are two ceramic humbuckers. And I think I mentioned this on another video, the introductory video, that the pickups on the EART are Artec, ARTEC pickups. They're HBC 115-BK Artec pickups. Okay, so they're ceramic pickups. Now, the bridge. The T's has a pretty conventional Tele style bridge, right? Although it's a 6 saddle as opposed to the 3 saddle vintage Tele style bridges. But it's the most conventional out of all three guitars with the rail pickup inset. The Firefly has more of a Strat-like bridge, and the I made the mistake. EART also has a Strat-style bridge with a tremolo. It's a 2-point trem bridge, so it's the only tremolo-capable guitar out of all three of these. And I didn't set it up with the trem arm on it. I have it, but I don't use a trem arm, so it's not on there. What else? Let's talk about, truss rod adjustments on all three, right? So you have the truss rod adjustment on the T's here, the headstock where it normally is. On the Firefly, the top of the headstock where it normally is. The EART has a wheel truss rod right here at the base of the neck for easy access. That's a nice feature. Let's see. What else are we talking about here? I think I covered all the specifics of the guitar. Now, again, none of these guitars, everybody or each individual person on here has a different use case, obviously, and a different preference. What I'm about to tell you is which of these three guitars is the best for me. And what I'm basing best for me on is from a playability standpoint, I like the neck, the neck has to appeal to me. And I like a thinner neck, but yet something that is very, in my hand, comfortable and easy to go up and down the neck, obviously, right? So the neck is a very important part of playability, the feel. The other thing is the type of music that I play is typically more, because of my age, is more classic rock oriented, more so than country, metal, funk, that type of genres, right? It's mostly classic rock. So those two things came heavily into consideration with me deciding upon, out of these three options, which is the best guitar for me. Which one do I like the best out of these three guitars? Now, the criteria that went into it, that's the other thing, right? Playability is obviously probably the most important. That's the neck feel of the guitar, the comfort of the body of the guitar, the whole bit, right? The looks of the instrument. Although that's not really that important, but hey, let's face it, it is important to some extent. Everybody wants to look at a guitar that they feel is sexy, that they like. The feature set of the guitar, right? Does it have good quality pickups? Does it have the coil split option? Does it have wada, yada, yada, yada on it, right? That comes into play. Probably the most important thing is the tone of the guitar to your ears, the sound. What guitar do you like the sound of? And they all vary, and they all appeal to different styles of music and different opinions. So I'm not saying mine is the best. It's simply mine. The quality of the instrument, right? In terms of build quality. The setup of the instrument out of the box. Are there any gotchas? Is it completely playable? Do you need to have some tweaks done to it? And lastly, but not leastly, service and support. That's very important as well, right? So, out of this bunch of criteria, I'm going to tell you which guitar checked off the most boxes for me and why. Okay? So I will now go to the guitar that I have decided is the best for me. Now, the last couple of days, I've played all three of these guitars heavily. And I've had my amp settings on dirt, heavy dirt, clean, with a little bit of effects, the whole bit. So I gave a pretty, exhaustive run through on all three guitars. So I have a pretty good feel for which sounds I like best, which guitars handle the sounds the best for my desires and my abilities. The other thing, too, is that, again, I don't have to say this because you all know this, based on my channel. I'm not paid by any of these companies to do this video. So I have no horse in the race in terms of, an investment, right? None of these companies, Tees, Firefly, EART, have paid me to review these guitars. So this is my opinion and my opinion only, right? And as I said at the beginning of the video, it's unedited, it's unrehearsed, and it's unbiased. It's my opinion, right? If you're looking for the flashy videos with the effects and the scripts and the glam, this is not the right place. Average Joe's Gear Talk is not the right place for that type of a video, unfortunately. But if you're looking for something that is honest, and again, from the heart, based on my experience, then I'm going to give you what I got. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is, and the other thing too is, I left out, and I shouldn't have left out. Out of all of these 3 guitars, the only one that comes with something extra, a gig bag, and it's not, a really heavily padded gig bag, but it's a gig bag nonetheless, with some padding in it. That's this guy. That's the tees. It comes with a tees embroidered gig bag. The rest of them don't. Just the guitar. Okay, so I'm going to go to the guitar that fits my needs the best out of all 3 of these options. Might be a surprise to the folks on the channel, but it's this guy right here. This is the EART TL 380. Now, why did I come to this conclusion? Well, playability, let's start off with that. The neck on this guitar is fantastic in my opinion. It's one of the best feeling necks on any budget guitar that I've played so far. Again, it might be the fact that it has this compound, both compound radius on the fretboard as well as compound neck, where it goes from the U, the thicker cowboy chords, so it feels comfortable with that more full C shape to it, playing chords down here, and then flattens out to the U, where, this is the U here, it's a fuller neck, where you're playing the cowboy chords, and then it flattens out to the C, and the radius also flattens out to 14, where you're, attempting, that's the key word, to shred or play leads. So it's very, very comfortable, and the fact that it has that slight gloss to it, I really love it. And also, the finishing on it is just insanely good. Look at that grain on this finish. It's really beautiful. It doesn't have, in all full disclosure, it doesn't have the carve, that is found on the tees, which I kind of like. I like that sloped carve on the neck, where the neck meets the body. Doesn't have it on this guitar. However, it does have the belly cut that you get with the Tees Tele as well. You don't get that on the Firefly. And it has the belly carve over here, which I really like. And in addition to that, it has the arm carve. So it's an extremely comfortable body to play. The neck feel is great for me. It feels just right to my hands. And from a playability standpoint, this is offering me the best experience of all 3 of the guitars. The other thing is the features. So this has coil splitting, which none of the other 2 guitars have. Full disclosure, they really don't sound like singles. I use this more as a gain switch because the volume greatly increases on the humbucker setting than when you cut it down to the singles. But you don't really get a true single coil sound, in my opinion, on this. But the fact that you have that option is a nice thing. I also like the wheel, the tuning wheel being down here, the adjustment for, I shouldn't say tuning wheel, the adjustment for the truss rod being on the wheel over here as opposed to up here on the top of the neck, which is a little bit uncomfortable, a little bit of a pain in the butt. The other thing I like about this guitar, from a feature standpoint, are these knobs. They are unique. They have great variance in them. They're really, really nice. I shouldn't say nice knobs, but they're really nice knobs on this guitar. So those 3 things really are appealing to me. And there's another one. These tuners are 22-to-1 gear ratio. Now, although these are locking tuners on the T's, they're 18-to-1. I'm not sure what the Fireflies are, quite frankly. But out of all 3 guitars, I found that locking in to pitch accurately was the best on this guitar of all 3 guitars. So these tuners, although they're nothing fancy, they're not locking tuners or anything, are extremely good tuners on this EART guitar. So from a feature standpoint, I'm giving it to EART for my abilities and my liking. And again, abilities-wise, as everybody knows, I don't play out. I don't play in bands. I have limited skills. I'm a home hobbyist, and that's my story. So if you're a different position, a different type of a musician, you might have different needs, and this might not apply to you at all. What else? Quality. This guitar, the finish of the paint, the frets. All three of these guitars have stainless steel frets. The T's guitar has stainless steel and rounded fret ends on the guitar. The Firefly has stainless steel frets and rounded fret ends. This does as well. However, the feel of these frets, I don't know how EART does it from a manufacturing standpoint, but they just feel the best of any budget guitar with stainless steel frets and rounded fret ends. I mean, it's flawless. You don't feel one sharp fret on any of the frets on this neck. It's insanely good. So that's one thing. The paint finishing, I couldn't find any issues at all with overspraying or any issues there. The setup out of the box, the intonation was spot on. The string height was perfect. There was nothing to do with this guitar that was needed in terms of tweaking. On the Firefly, I did have some issues right out of the box with tweaking. It needed some intonation adjustments, and it also needed a couple of turns on the truss rod because it was buzzing real badly. T's didn't have those issues. It was gone over before it was shipped out. However, it did and still does have, to some extent, I don't know why, some frets that need a little bit of filing down on it. But that just could be to, temperature change or whatever. So, setup out of the box, both are great. But again, this didn't need anything. What else? Service and support, obviously. You can't beat Torsten over at T's. So you got to give that to T's. I don't think any of these companies can ever touch that. But overall, I mean, T's has a great feature set. T's has great quality. T's has great setup out of the box, service and support. But overall, for my liking, which is important, the sound of the pickups, playability. Now, the only thing that I have on this T's is it's the only guitar with the conventional neck pickup, single coil, out of all of these guitars. But I found, and again, it could just be the setup on this guitar for me, the bridge pickup is way, way louder than the neck, to the point where I have to keep adjusting the amp settings to balance it out when I'm playing, if I'm going from single mode to humbucker mode. It's completely, louder. Whereas, most humbuckers are a little bit louder than the single coils. However, it's to the point where it's extremely noticeable for me. So I find the pickups on this guitar a lot more balanced than the pickups on the T's guitar. The other thing is, these are overall higher output pickups than these pickups. However, the bridge pickup is probably a little bit higher output maybe than this guy. I don't know. Look, bottom line is this. For my playing abilities and my style of music that I play, this is the best suited guitar for me. If you play some of the heavier tones, metal, for example, and some maybe really ultra heavy rock, the rail pickup, the humbucker on this guitar, is extremely good for that style music. And in fact, Colton and Rob on Fret Not preferred the T's from a pickup standpoint over this guitar. They typically play metal, and they were surprised. I don't. I play classic rock. This guitar for me is the best option. Now, the Firefly. What I found with the Firefly, because of the two Strat style single coil pickups, on pure cleans with no dirt and no gain, no distortion at all, those pickups are my favorite on the Firefly. From a clean mode standpoint, they're the best. But overall, for me, playability, feature set, sound, comfort, this guy is the best for me. Now, if you're looking for something a little more glitzy, possibly, and, more blingy, you probably would go for the Firefly Mad Cat because of the crazy pick guard on it and the flame on the top and back of the guitar and, the roasted glossed neck with the skunk stripe. I mean, that might be your choice. So all three of these guitars are great choices for you if you're looking for a T-style guitar that's a little bit different and offers a great value. All three of these guitars are good choices. Again, I'm just giving you one man's opinion, which is me, and which is the best for my playing and my needs. And I vote on the EART TL380. Now, price-wise, they're all comparable from a pricing standpoint, right? In the order of price, you've got the Firefly being the least costly because it's $226 including shipping. The T's is $264.95, right? The EART is $300 right now with prices. Now, like mileage on cars, the prices will vary depending upon where you buy the guitars and what kind of a deal you can strike. But they're all basically $300 or sub $300 guitars. Between, $225 and $300, put it that way. They're all pretty close. They're all great values. They're all very well built instruments. They will last you probably as long as you're playing or close to it, I would guess, right? With a little bit of TLC. So they were all great options. What are your thoughts? Which one out of these three, if you've had all three or a chance to play all three, which one do you like the best? Put them in the comments. I'd love to hear your opinions. Do you agree with my assessment? Do you disagree? Put them in the comments. And as always, guys, until the next one, be well. See you soon. Have a great day. Take care.